We'll call the executive committee meeting to order.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion on the agenda? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Carries. The minutes of the December.
Second.
Get a motion for.
I'll make a motion. You can second it.
Any discussion on the minutes?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Are there any public comments? No public comments? All right. Are there any supervisors not seated as committee members present? We'll get no information from them. How about our county MOU with the Fair Society?
So in front of you, you will see the drafts of what Malia sent to the opposing attorney. She, in her email to the Fair Society's attorney, noted that obviously this shouldn't be represented as any kind of agreement. It's a discussion point for all of you to be able to engage in discussion on what is in there with the Fair Society at the next meeting. The next meeting with the Fair Society is in February. I don't believe that Malia has heard back from Attorney O'Sullivan. So as of right now, that's where it sits. We haven't heard whether they object to anything that's in there for discussion or anything. So for right now, I believe that's the status.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Are these track changes what we discussed the other day? All in everything?
So in Malia's email, she says that the red line changes are what was discussed at the previous meeting.
Okay.
We don't have a red
Don't
line.
have a red line on.
Well, it's the lines, like specifically like on the last page,
Yeah,
there's
I
a lot of
know.
stuff, so
But
we just don't.
Steve had the ones listed. There were 6 of them, you said?
Right, yeah, I met with
So
Malia. We compared notes to make sure that
And
what
this
she
is,
heard while she listened and took notes during the meeting
right,
is what we had figured, that I had for notes, and they all lined up. So that's
Okay.
basically what's in this document right now.
you've read this one and satisfied that this is the one that you and her discussed.
Right. Now, in Malia's email, do you have it up on your screen there?
I do, yep.
Yeah, there's 3 more topics that, we should probably talk about. And what they're,
So she has 4 topics listed here. First is access to the property by the county with reasonable notice to the Fair Society. Second,
Where are you reading?
this is the email from Malia to the opposing attorney. So these are things that she believes that the committee and the Fair Society should discuss at the next meeting to work out these things and get them added into the MOU.
All right.
So access to the property. Second, liability concerns, insurance, things of that nature. Third would be any financial agreements related to who's paying for what, how payments get made, et cetera. And fourth are capital improvements, selection of contractors, qualifications of contractors, insurance of contractors, et cetera. So those are the 4 additional things that she thinks need to really get ironed out at the next meeting.
In other words, this proposal is what we want, but we're just waiting for confirmation.
So again, it's a document to make sure that we have at least an understanding, if not an agreement, on those fundamental basics of what the MOU is going to have outlined, I believe.
I see.
our conversation talked about Malia's and mine. What if we have a catastrophic failure down there and those buildings are all filled with boats, collector cars, and motorhomes? Do we have a proper document that protects the county against liability should there be a catastrophic failure there?
Yeah.
And, I think those are probably some of the next steps to get into to make sure that whatever their agreement is, I haven't read it, I'm sure. We need to figure out, are we covered? Should, you know, they rent out space down there in the event there's a catastrophic late season tornado.
It could, yeah, because the building would be covered, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The building itself is covered, but not the content.
Building
Is that how that works?
should be with our insurance.
But the contents. Okay.
Chair, Steve raises this point of liability and insurance. There was this related issue, and maybe that's what number 3 here is with financial agreements. And that had to do with the latitude that the county was allowing the Fair Society in terms of essentially profiting off the space through rental agreements with third parties. I don't know if that's something that's going to be taken up or not, but that came up in the conversation. And I'm not sure that's what number 3 is about, but that's my recollection.
Right, and so the committee can address obviously anything in the negotiation that they want. These are the things that Malia believes are things that the committee should have at the front of their mind when doing the negotiating, and take into consideration any concerns that you have to be able to negotiate stuff like that. Mr. Wortham brought up.
Steve, can I ask you a question? Is there any way that any of these can get moved down the line in discussions that you're having with them? Like,
I don't really have discussions with them.
okay,
I don't think it's my place.
okay.
I'm just advisory between them and
Yeah.
the board.
Do they know about these 4 things, like that they should be coming?
They should. She put them in the email.
Yeah.
Things we talked about.
Okay.
And, you know, how are we going to get reimbursed for the grandstand is another issue. You know, is there going to be something written into the agreement, of course, that the method to pay
You mean,
back, and then how much are they going to contribute to the grandstand is another issue. You know, until we get a new estimate of what the grandstand that's now being requested costs, well then, you know, we don't know where we're at there.
do you mean how much they're going to pay back of the cost or of the revenue that is gained over the years?
Both.
Because we're paying a certain amount. I mean, we've committed to pay a certain amount for the grandstand, right? Are we changing that, do you think? Or where are we at with
I
that?
don't know where we're at until we know what the grandstand costs.
The cost piece, okay.
Yeah, I don't think anything's in stone on that. I mean, we at one time passed a resolution to say we will fund a grandstand, but that can be changed. I mean, the original plan was to do a grandstand a certain way. Then all of a sudden it's been moved. We invested about $70,000
Right,
already.
right.
We had a proposal to say, you know, do we get a portion of the revenue? They have funds that they were going to commit to it. So we're kind of at square one now.
Okay.
We got to go back and
Okay.
figure out. I think there's an agreement that everybody wants to participate and share in the success of the fair. The challenge for us is we got to make sure that we're doing this in a way that the taxpayer will say, yes, that's right, because legally we could get tied up in messes if we don't know who's leasing, what's going on, that type of thing. And we,
I see.
you know,
Okay.
any construction that needs to be done, we need to make sure it's done the correct way by a legitimate contractor, that kind of thing.
Okay, I see what you mean. Okay.
And then there's that concern we have about building being leased out to a certain party, where the residents first come, first served for any citizen or anybody basically that wants to store there. But then there's a building set aside for an individual. And it's questionable whether that's legal.
He subleases them.
Yeah, to sublease county property. Renting space is one thing, but kind of sublease, and I think was another question we had. So those are just some of the things that we need to have in our head, I guess, when we come back to the table. So.
And they want to meet in February?
Yes.
Would that be at this meeting or do they want to meet?
There's a special meeting. on the date of that.
It is a special meeting.
I believe, sir, it is on the 6th, if memory serves, but let me confirm that. I've got,
Monday the 6th.
okay, 8:30 to 10.
8:30 to 10?
That's what I've got on my calendar. Maybe the
With the
clerk
Fair
can
Board?
confirm that. I'm sorry?
You're saying we're meeting with the Fair Board?
With the Fair Board, right?
He doesn't usually like the week that early.
I think he did have some concerns about being able to get here, but was going to make it extra special.
Okay.
So that's on number 11, that February 6th, is that meeting there?
That'd be correct, sir.
Okay. So it is.
So it
on
is
here.
our, the same, it's our regular meeting. It's not a
I think you
special meeting.
Yeah,
It's just been moved. I'm sorry. Yes, we've just moved the date off of the second Thursday to this date.
so it's our meeting for the month though.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
So it's not a,
But it's not at the normal time.
Was there a reason why we didn't have it on our normal day, or?
They couldn't get it.
That's right.
Because I can't on the
Oh.
6th.
Oh. We need you there.
I won't be back in town until the 8th. I did that on purpose. Meeting was on the 9th,
right.
so I'm already coming back early, but so we may need to contact them and reschedule that. Okay with everybody. Maybe we could have it on the 13th or something instead.
Could we have it on the 9th? That would be my
I
preference.
think they had problems with the 9th for some reason.
Oh, that's why we moved it back. Okay. Yeah, the 13th is fine.
This committee meets on Thursdays usually.
That's right.
Yep.
The Thursday doesn't work with anybody.
It's the 13th on.
Monday.
Friday. Oh, I'm
That
sorry.
would be
we're
a
gonna do-
general government meeting also, by the way.
Yeah,
Oh.
13th is general
13th.
government.
Right.
So we can't have it then. It'd be at the same time.
Unless you did the afternoon.
Unless you started it, yeah, like at 10 or something.
Or after the general government one. That would make sense too for whoever else is, we're on general.
So we're landing on
Ooh,
the 13th then?
Well, you're gonna have to try to contact them and see if that works for them.
What's your preferences on days then?
Yeah, we should give you 2 days, shouldn't we?
Yeah, and
Okay, so
like 16th is, Thursday. 14th Tuesday.
And HHS on the
HHS, yep.
14th and ES on the 15th. What about the idea of 10 o'clock after general government on the 13th?
sure, yeah. So you're gonna propose what dates to them? So I can hold them the 16th and the 13th?
13th, we'll try the 16th. Anybody got a concern with the 16th?
Nope.
We'll just see what times are available, preferably the morning, I take it. What you're used to.
Yep.
Well, if it's after general government, that wouldn't be bad.
On the 13th, we
That's on
10
the
a.m.
13th. So if they can't do the 13th, then we're gonna try to get the 16th.
And if they don't like those two, they'll give us another option.
All right, anything else on the MOU at the fair?
Does Malia have any suggestions on her 4 things? Does she have anything in writing for that we can kind of read, or what she thinks we should put in there? Or does she want us to do all that?
So I think that if you wanted to sit down and have a discussion with her, she would be willing to do that with each of you and talk about what your concerns are and how to potentially address that specific issue. She doesn't have anything written that I can tell you right now that she's saying, hey, you need to ask for this term or that term, or.
Okay. But she hasn't given us any, like option 1 or 2 on each one, access or what kinds of insurance to make sure we have it or any of that. Well, then, so we don't have to sit here and make it up as we go. I'm thinking, do we have some options ahead of time?
So maybe do
Yeah.
you want to have a closed session at some point to discuss this as a group before the meeting with the fair?
That or then, or what options do we have, or
That or a one-on-one with her.
Well, I just thought we all should get the same options at the same time.
Yeah,
I
one-on-one.
think it's better that if we each get it individually. I don't know what they need for access or insurance, I think. But if we had some ideas that to make sure the contents were covered.
Well, that's why I was asking kind of you about, like, can we move the ball down the road before we come back here completely?
If there's an option in there somewhere for us to look at.
Yeah, those are the 4 or 5, whatever it's there, things that her and I talked about when we reviewed this document. I just said, well, you know, we still got this, and this, you know, we need to talk about. There were some previous draft documents put out there that indicated, you know, that the Fair Society would pay $1 per head toward grandstand. You know, is that going to be part of the agreement?
Right.
You know, what's the dollar amount they're going to contribute? You know, we need to have that in the agreement, obviously, if we're going to build a grandstand. You know, some of those things we just need to keep putting together so that we have it all covered, you know.
So, I mean, you're kind of asking the same question. It's like, well, maybe staff and Malia, somebody can move these issues down the road so they come back to us.
Or at least give us options, what they think we should do.
Yeah, some more direction or
Where the
something.
county sits with insurance, we should have that up front, I think.
Yeah,
You know what, if we're not covered on a catastrophic event, we should have to,
something.
here's what they have to do to have insurance to cover their stuff inside. I mean, at least a few things like that, so we're not.
So we can get Leah, Joe, the relevant people here, Mo and Don, and kind of talk through, give some talking points or thoughts to consider on each of these topics. So that, and maybe we get those to you either in person or in a written document to say, here are things to consider so that you all can decide this one's important, this one, not so much.
Yeah.
That sounds give us some, because like the grant, you know, with the grandstand, they got grant money and everything, and they just won't tell us that number, but it's like 200-some thousand grant money for that. So I mean, I think it has to go towards that. So that's something we should know.
I don't think they have grant money per se for grandstand. They've been saving money for a grandstand.
Tracy said they got a grant. She wrote a grant to get it.
Right. So they got a ARPA grant, you know, but that not necessarily directed right toward the grandstand.
But they do have money
absolutely
donated and saved, so it would have to go towards it.
Right. They have it right on their financial monthly financial statement.
Sure.
That's listed as grandstand fund or whatever you would want to call it. So
can we get I'd like to get a copy of their statement once, just to see it. I thought we were going to get one.
Yeah, I apologize. I should have grabbed one for you. I'll make sure you
just so that we have one once, just to go through it and see. I'd like to just see it once. Okay.
And does Malia have any more conversations, do you know, with their lawyer on these 4 topics?
Again, I don't believe that he has responded at all to this email, not that I'm aware of.
So they're not going to come back with some staff moving forward on some of these because, yeah, this could take a while. If, you know, if we can't get them to have conversation and come back to us and say, well, we got this far, choose these 3 things. Okay.
So do you want a closed session then, put on our agenda the next time we meet? So if we want to go into close, have a discussion just with the committee. Even if they're here, we can still go into close.
Yeah.
Just so we get it on the agenda.
We probably should, to be safe.
Yes.
Don't you think?
Yes.
Just to be safe.
Okay.
Because we are negotiating, so if it's financial, like it said, insurance payments, capital improvement, we probably should.
Yep.
All right. We wouldn't have to use it, but if it's there.
Anything else on the MOU with the fair?
No, wait a second. We aren't having HHS this week or this month, I guess. So if you wanted to free that date up, because we talked about that one day, if that helps them.
14th.
13th, 14th, or 16th. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I just remembered. So take that date if you want to.
Okay, good. Give us 3 options.
Okay.
All right, as we're setting up meetings, we'll talk about canceling meetings.
Yeah, we did an investigation on this to find out what the process is, and the official process is it be discussed by the executive committee. If the executive committee determines that yes, we can cancel a meeting, you all decide. It's up to you.
So do we have things, I mean, we cancel them just by tradition, but is there things that we should be doing and moving the ball forward with staff?
I had some inquiries about that. We've done it in the past.
Yeah, it didn't matter what was going on.
No.
Most people aren't even around here in February. Couldn't even hardly put a quorum together. So we just would, it wasn't even hardly discussed. I mean, it's just what we did. We canceled February's.
Yeah.
We usually didn't have enough to even have a meeting. I mean, they were like making things up just to have a presentation or have something for us. But
my response has been that, look at, if we've got something of significance for the meeting, let's schedule a meeting. It's, yeah, as far as going through an executive committee, I don't remember anybody ever discussing whether we're going to close or not. We just had a notice that there was a close for the month. But the committees still could meet there. It was at their discretion, or the human services or something.
This is just for the county board.
Just county board.
For that.
Right, no, I understand, but I mean.
But I mean, that's where.
You got some help for us?
That's when everybody did their vacation. That's
Seems like
it.
Oh, so it wouldn't screw up their month.
We also have a spring primary that day on the 21st. So if we are going to have a February board meeting, I would request that we move the day so it's not on election day as well.
And that's
our committee has a lot of zoning stuff, but we're going to wait till March, I think, to bring it because we have to have public hearings yet. I think we got 4 or 5.
And HHS decided not to meet because we didn't have anything burning. So
we have that. But I think ours is. I think Bob is up in DOA. But I think ours was going to go then till March. We were going to wait.
So why wouldn't the chair just decide whether there's enough to have a meeting, and if there isn't, cancel the meeting?
Yeah, like normal, like our rules of order.
Not to put any pressure on you.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah.
But the sooner you do it, the better for.
I know it.
It was always vacation time for everybody.
well, and Jay suggested that to me, and so I asked Malia to look into it, and he said, I don't know if it's Robert's rules or if it's state statute that it's the determination of the executive committee to. So if Jay proposes that, this committee would then say we agree. And
we really didn't even have an executive committee when we were doing that.
I know. I'm just.
Well, let's add that to our rules.
How about Jay makes a motion and we decide?
I'll make a motion that we suspend the February county board meeting and the committees will make their own decision.
I'd second that.
Any more discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the recommend. So do we have to recommend this to the board, or
no?
We have to have a meeting to approve it.
February meeting to.
We'll do that in February. Yeah.
All right.
So
then
it'll be announced. It'll be announced that we have no meeting of the county board in February.
Yes.
Of just the full board.
Of the full,
so it is a
county board, right?
Because this month with the due calendar date and things, we got to make sure it's straight.
I will get it out there, I promise.
So we're gonna say, are we gonna say something like county board, but committees?
Full county board.
Full county board.
Yeah.
Committees, because our committee, we're still.
You know what we're doing, but.
We'll have the building unlocked for you, Kim, if you show up.
If I show up, the building will be unlocked. All right. I think I probably got a key.
read your emails.
All right. How about our updates to the code of ethics?
So this was Malia and me, unless you have something, but
No.
Malia's not here. So we just kept it on the agenda was my understanding, and then we'll come back next. Well, are we meeting next month?
Yep.
So we're meeting.
We're negotiating with the fair.
Fair, so we get.
So we'll have a
that can
full
be on
agenda.
there.
Okay, so we'll come back then with our edits.
So, but with that, that issue is resolved with Nancy Beck. I see that was in the,
Yeah,
one of the emails I got or whatever from the state.
Is the issue resolved with her?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't have.
Oh, it came to the, oh, you don't get that good news. Okay. It
yeah,
came,
come up, I saw it too.
did you, I just read it that she sent it to the state and it came back that.
So this is
Said it was-
relevant to the code of ethics discussion?
Well, yeah, it's the ethics violation.
Well, it's not the code though, you're right.
Well, it's not the code itself, but I mean, it was brought up to us here and stuff and said that we didn't do anything. Well, she sent it to the state. The state made an opinion.
Right, that we were exonerated.
Yeah, we were exonerated,
I
basically.
didn't see that. Maybe
You didn't either?
anybody has that. If you
Well,
can.
I
forward
saw
it.
it, I don't know where.
It's in the paper, I think. Are you talking about in the
Maybe it's in the
newspaper?
paper.
Yeah, it was in
Yeah.
the local news.
Well, we can rely on
Okay.
that.
Well, I've been gone. I'll look.
I think
Okay,
it was in the
I'll
leader.
look it up again, because I was gonna print it out, then it just, here it's done with.
Well, it was in the paper, so I don't know.
Yeah.
You never know if that's exactly what
I
everybody
think it
agrees
came
with.
from the state news.
I'll see if I have a
The
picture.
state news is where it came from, where I got it. So,
Yes.
all right.
Thank you.
You didn't say that.
All right, let's move on here to our visions utilization, a statistical platform. Oh, now.
Right, so we've got a schedule together for divisions to have an opportunity each month when we have a county board meeting to present some information using some of the resources that we have in IT. And Dr. Moe has agreed to subject himself to this at the January meeting.
Yeah, so at the January meeting, you'll have the pleasure of my presentation, looking at snow and ice control and construction projects. We collect a lot of data at Highway on those two topics. So had a data analyst help me put together a couple of graphs real quick, and we'll go over that data so you can see what we're tracking and why we're tracking it.
I have, not in reference to that, but I was just thinking of something that the chair of each committee in the county should notify their board that if they're having a meeting or not
Oh, you mean in February?
in February.
Yeah, we already discussed and they voted to not do it in February, and Tanya didn't think we.
And we did not yet. So public protection will have to notify whether or not we're having a meeting. So you can handle that, Steve.
Okay.
Exactly having one is correct. And then notify which meetings are what's their own meeting. So we don't have
Yeah,
Kim
that's why I
coming,
said that.
so we don't have Kim coming down here and nobody around.
But we're having 2 meetings and not 3 then. See, I came in.
Oh, okay.
We're still having our 2, yeah.
All right.
All right, how about our work plan?
You know, unlike other committees, I don't know if the executive committee historically has had a very defined work plan, because it's usually based on matters that are, you know, relegated to the ethics or to the executive committee, like ethics, those types of things. But obviously things that we will keep on our radar, things like ethics issues, the fair MOU, any type of committee assignments. Think about this April when we come up with our new priorities. There might be some discussion on who's going to take this priority, who's going to take the lead on this priority. When there's a debate on that, then it's up to the ethics committee, or I'm sorry, the executive committee to delegate those to the committees they think is appropriate. So that's those were my thoughts. That'll be coming up this year. It's unlike an election year where we have a rules code and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And anything else that you guys may think of, hey, this is something that the executive committee should do on a regular basis or a certain time of the year, let me know. And we do discuss MOUs. that aren't financially bound, that type of thing.
Anybody got anything else on our work plan?
Just on the old one, we'd go all the way to October. We review the county administrator. That's about the only thing that we really,
Yeah.
I got the old one.
Okay. I don't even have.
So there isn't much. You hit pretty much everything.
Right.
That's a lot of money there.
Nope.
Shouldn't have said anything.
Should have said nothing, yeah.
All right, how about subject matters for the next meeting? I think if we meet in February, it's gonna be because we're negotiating with fair.
Yeah.
And then Malia and I, if we want to do ethics in the code in that month, we can do that, or we can move it in March if you want.
If you're ready, get it on the agenda, or we can just have it on the agenda. And if you have something, bring it. If you don't.
We'll put, okay. Yeah, I don't know her schedule, so it'll be kind of up to, yeah. Okay.
So if we can't get a meeting with the Fair Society, are we still gonna meet in February? This committee?
Then we probably don't have to, do we?
No reason to.
So should we tell the Fair Society if those February dates don't work, we move into the March, our regular March day, a regular meeting on March?
Yeah. We don't want to,
Yeah.
Okay.
So who's gonna try to make contact with the Fair Society
I'll reach out to the attorney today.
and try to get us another date? If you can't get anything in February, then you'll notify this committee that we're not meeting in February.
Okay. If that's what you decide, that's what we'll do.
And then if none of those days work, you are asking that we propose the regular March meeting as the time to meet with the fair.
Yep.
I think that would work.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, we've got one thing to do
Make
yet.
a motion to adjourn.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, should we put on the deal that we check our rules of orders, how to do meetings and not have meetings?
I think we already did that.
We kind of did that already, all right.
Yeah, that I signed that to our corporation council, and that's why it's on the agenda.
That's why
here.
it's on this one.
Yeah,
Okay,
if you're gonna
that the
cancel the
full-
board.
That the executive does it, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to change it back.
All right, I don't know if we got a second on the board.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
9.
Really?
Wow.
Really?